Hello, hello, hello. Hello, hello, hello. Hey, this is me, Paul Galamere, live on 4680Q Radio. Yeah, just down in Niagara Falls, Ontario, just off of Queen Street on Chrysler Avenue in the beautiful studios. This is your city, your voice coming to you live. Now, yesterday, if you went and tried to watch the video, you will notice that there was no sound. And that's because a nincompoop forgot to turn on the mic, which I have turned on today. So you should be able to get it loud and clear on the video today when I post it. It's on YouTube and it'll be on Facebook. That's why, no excuses. I just plain forgot to turn on the radio. But there's a lot of stuff going on here before I get the show going. I mean, I've got to get the board going. I've got to get the recorder going. I've got to get the music off. I got to push my button here to make sure that it's recording on the audio part of it. Then I got to get this ready, and I got to turn on the video, the camera. Then I got to get the microphones going, everything plugged in. It's a big rigmarole. If you forget one thing, it all falls apart. And if you're a nincompoop, you do forget one thing at the odd time. It's a good thing Joe Biden isn't running this whole thing. I don't think he could do it. Well, no. Let me just qualify that. I know he couldn't do it. No. There's no way. There's no way. So yeah, here we are today, and I think everybody. I got the green light here. I got the recorder going. I got the video going. There should be no problems today. But hey, here I go, my itchy nose again. Oh, this weather's whacked. But anyway, we're gonna get some rain, I think. But anyway, it's Tuesday, June 25th, Trash Talking Tuesday. We're going to be talking about everything today. We're trying a lot of talking trash here, but a lot of good stuff too. Maybe I always try to find some good stuff, but in this day and age, it's very very hard to find good news items. But the good news items I do have start out with my sponsors: Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop and Hamilton Glowstone Lighting. Now, you look outside, it's hot out here. Your air conditioner goes down in your car and you're sweating it out. And you go, I got to get this fixed. Where do you go? Well, you go to Wild Bill's, Ken Hunter. He's going to take care of you. And he's also going to give your car the once over to make sure you're all set for the summer. Because when you're headed up to some Kapusi kissing, whatever it's called, Coochie Hoochie, Lake Cucamonga, you don't want your car breaking down. You want to be on the path to the vacation. You don't want to be on the road, on the side of the road, making the sign of the cross and hoping that somebody comes and gets you before you overheat. Yeah, just get Ken Hunter to check out your car. Wild Bills, just get him to check it out. He's going to go through it. Your brakes are going to be good. Your oil's going to be changed. Your winter tires are going to be off. Your air conditioner is going to be working. Kids are going to be happy. Your wife's going to be happy. And heaven forbid, you got to make sure the wife's happy. And away you go. You don't have any problems. Why hesitate? Be proactive. Don't be reactive. Just go down to Oakwood Drive, right next to the Kia dealership, Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. And if you happen to get in a smash 'em up derby, hey, guess what? Wild Bill's has the full auto body shop. He's going to take care of your car and get it out of that shop looking like brand new. Why would you wait? Go and see him today. You know you want to. You know you have to. Don't fool around. Wild Bill's Auto Repair and Body Shop. Tell him Paul from your city, your voice sent you. Okay, so what do we got going on here? Well, like I say yesterday, well, you know what? I'm trying to get it together. I got the video and the audio. I've got them in this program that's supposed to get it together. But me personally, I've never used it. I have no idea how to use it. So I'm just playing with it. I'm just trying to figure it all out myself, and I will. Might take time. Might take a couple little tutorials, but I'll figure it out and I'll get it on. And it's going to be on with the video and the audio together on YouTube. Yeah, don't worry about it. We're going to get it done. Now, last night I watched a brilliant hockey game, and unfortunately, the Oilers just couldn't get it done. I mean, geez, all the Canadiana bringing the cup back to Canada, Canada's game, blah blah blah, best player in the world. Yeah, well, that was good rhetoric, but it just didn't work. Florida won 2-1, Stanley Cup champions. Congratulations to them. And first Stanley Cup ever, first Cup win ever in the NHL. Good for them. Paul Maurice, first Cup win ever, 30 years coaching. He finally got something together and won the Stanley Cup. Great for him. I mean, I'm sure the Oiler fans were in tears, and they were headed out of the exits in Florida. Sunrise, Florida is where it was played, and they were a little sad. But you know what? Maybe next year they can do it all over again. No, this doesn't happen. Even for Florida to have made the final 2 years in a row is amazing. It's just too long of a schedule. You watch Florida next year, they'd probably be out first round. They're going to be gassed. That's what happens. It's a long season. I mean, they've played 2 years now, and they get 3 months off anymore. So it's a long haul if you want to win a Stanley Cup, and then to repeat it is these days almost impossible with the amount of travel and the amount of games and everything else, and the faster, stronger players, more injuries. It's very, very tough. So Edmonton, you had your shot, and I think that's probably going to be it. I hope not, but maybe you can. I don't know. And unfortunately, the Professional Hockey Writers Association decided that a player on the losing team was going to get the most valuable player award called the Conn Smythe Trophy. Connor McDavid got it, and yeah, that's the guy that didn't get a shot on net in Game 6 and didn't score anything in Game 7. He was shut right down. He barely got any shots on net. And I gotta say that award was a gimme by the league to a great player. We can't take anything away from Connor McDavid. He's probably the greatest player in the game right now. But at the end of the day, some guy named Bobrovsky put the anchor on these guys and played a tremendous game last night. He's the reason they even were in Game 7. I know he lost 3 games there. It didn't look that great. But guess what? He pulled himself out of that rut to have a tremendous game last night and to make sure that Florida did win the Stanley Cup. Excuse me. He's the champion. And at the end of the day, he should have got that trophy as far as I'm concerned. But politics do play a part. And I think probably that when you see outstanding goaltending in the playoffs, excuse me, I don't know where I'm getting this cough for. All of a sudden I get in air conditioning, it's blowing right on me, and I start coughing, but I'll get over it. It'll pass. Don't worry about it. But yeah, last goaltenders I seen play like this is Patrick Waugh in 1993 and 86. I mean, he basically really helped Montreal to win 2 Stanley Cups. He played phenomenal, 11 overtime wins in a row in that series, or at least in the series and all the series. And then the flip flopaholic, Tim Thomas, flip flop fly, Timmy Thomas in 2011. I mean, I don't know how he did it, but he played an outstanding series, and he won a Stanley Cup with the Boston Bruins. And yeah, this was the best I've seen Bobrovsky in. He didn't get the Conn Smythe. I don't understand it, but you know what? Hey, there's politics wherever you go these days. Politics wherever you go. And not that Connor David didn't deserve it. He had like a bunch of points, 42 points, some crazy thing. Broke one of Gretzky's records, I think, or something. But at the end of the day, usually the team that wins, the guy that got him there and played the best, Bobrovsky, gets the Conn Smythe. Not this year. That's all right. To tell you the truth, I didn't care who won it. Nah, it didn't matter to me. I said Florida was going to win it. That's why I said was going to win it. I thought they were the better team. And I thought they were going to win it, but at the end of the day, I really don't care. I'm a Habs fan. Habs weren't in it. Habs didn't win it. Who gives a crap? Okay, so I'm in the review and I'm reading about this Niagara Falls official plan, and the verdict is in. There are robust, not just good comments, not just they're robust comments received about Niagara Falls official plan. Now, you know that none of these people could plan a 1-car parade, right? You know that. As a matter of fact, we're not having a parade for Canada Day. So they can't plan a parade. We know it, proof in point. So they're drafting an official plan for the city that takes the city into 2050 or some other distant date. I don't know what they're. Sure, Bruce. Sure, yeah. Take us into the future here. Back to the future. Let's go. So a planner guaranteed a high-priced planner because these planners don't come cheap. He's working on a long-term land use document for Niagara Falls. He says he's impressed by the can-do spirit of the people. Can do. He calls them the stakeholders. What he means is taxpayers, because they're paying the shot here for this planner, who have provided really robust comments. Okay, a big FU could be a robust comment, right? But let's move on. I mean, I didn't see any robust comments. So apparently there have been over 2,600 page views on the city. They have a page called Let's Talk, and it's a web page where they get input. So if you figure there's 100,000 people in the city, what is that? 2.6%? Something like that. 2.6%. Even less if you take out the repeat offenders, because there's people who probably put more than one comment, which means 90% of the residents don't give a rat's ass about this survey and this time-wasting, expensive procedure. Now, just to prove my point, 2 public information sessions attracted 75 people. Whoop-de-doo. And there were more than 100 responses to the first survey. 100 responses out of 60,000 voters, plus maybe 70,000 now. City's grown. 100 responses. Let me say it again. Nobody gives a rat's ass. And I guarantee that anyone that attended was over 60 years old. It won't be around by the time any of these plans come to fruition. I'm telling you, this is. No. I need a button that I can just push and it says, "Don't get me going." Now, that's not to say this exercise isn't needed. I mean, we have seen what no planning has produced: gridlock, intersections that are basically impassable at certain times of the day, roads that resemble portages of old, and one of the most dangerous areas of the city, the McLeod, Pinot, QEW, and Oakwood area, that right now is so congested that, well, I mean, that's just in that little area right now. In another year, it's going to be from Dorchester Road to Kayla Road, and then it'll be from Drummond Road to Gardner Road. Yeah, that's what's going to happen because there's 10 developments that are going in there, 10 high-rise buildings, thousands of more people, thousands of more cars on those roads. Not to mention people come from all over the city to go to Niagara Square, well, the old Niagara Square, Costco, Walmart, and all that whole gig going on down there. McBain Center. It's going to be a slobber knocker, even worse than it is now. Now, don't forget the climate change people and the indigenous. Anything we plan for has to be planned around them as well. So the baloney meter, that's that meter that measures baloney. Yep, it's really amped up, as the planner says. This is a project that people are clearly coming to search out to engage and be part of. That is a very strong, organic kind of reaction and engagement. What's he talking about? 2,600 people that looked at the page? Although he upped that to 3,000 the second time around. Now let's see what 2.6 of the population want. Parks, to go back to the village and small town image, and trails. Now the Velvet Hammer is ecstatic about this. He's just spearheaded a drive to resurrect the old NS&T line and spend $1.9 million of our tax money to do it. And it's soon going to be 12 million because that's the end number they need, 12 million. So I hope he planned for that when it's all finished. Now, Councillor Peter Angelo says And that's the Velvet Hammer, by the way. It says it's nice to see the public wants this kind of stuff. A percentage of the 2.6% of the people do anyway. I mean, it's nice to see the people, the public, not the public, 97% don't want it or don't care about it. But 2.6% of the people do it. That's about 2% more that want pickleball courts and cricket courts and ghetto domes and everything else. And he says it just means we are on the right path. And no pun intended, we're on the right path, innocent path, the walking path. He didn't mean to make a pun in that statement, but that's what he said. And there's Joe. There's Joe over there from the Grand Central. There he goes. Good guy. Yep, it just means we're on the right path. No pun intended. Well, I have to say to Councillor Peter Angelo, the Velvet Hammer, no, Councillor, it doesn't mean anything if you want to be truthful. If you think a few comments from taxpayers means that you have a mandate and you're on the right path, you're wrong. Regardless of what the planner says, 97% of the population, the people in town, the taxpaying public, the majority want a clean city and good roads. I don't understand what this city council and this city hall doesn't understand about that. When have you ever gone to a party and talked to your friends about the city and they've ever said about the NST path or the Millennium Trail or the pickleball court or the ghetto dome or the cricket court coming? Do they ever talk about that? No. None of my friends do anyway. Maybe we're just a bunch of misfits in this city. We're out of touch. None of my friends talk about it. They talk about the roads suck. The city's a mess. There's homeless all over. There's weeds all over. That's what they talk about. So to say that the public thinks you're on the right path and the public wants to see this kind of stuff, I have to say baloney. I'll call it BS on that one. I gotta get down to City Hall with some dollar bills and play some BS poker with these guys. They'll beat you for every dime because they're the best at it. They're the best at it. I'm not even close to that. Now the big show says we need to change things in Niagara Falls. And he is right about that. I mean, he sure is right about that. But $12 million trails, ghetto domes, cricket fields, pickleball courts, and other goofy ideas that come along are not what needs to be changed. They may want, but they certainly are not needs. Have a vote with the price attached to these bills. See what everyone says when they find out how much money they're spending on these kind of things. A lot of people will say, well, can't we put that money to roads that benefit everybody in town? Don't good roads benefit everybody? A beautiful Portage Road, a beautiful Drummond Road, a beautiful Valley Way, a beautiful Morrison Street, a beautiful Victoria Avenue. They benefit everybody. Not just the odd guy who wants to whack his pickle around for a little while. Right? So, and you can't play with yourself. Not like that commercial. I play with myself. No. Oh, now like this right here, this thing here, is a double. There's a lot of double talk, and you can figure out the double talk if you like. I can, and this is Kamala Harris at her best. Oh yeah, this is Kamala Harris at her best. Now read the quote from The Big Show, and if you don't know who The Big Show is, that's Mayor Jim Diodati. At least I think it's from The Big Show. It sounds like him. They really didn't qualify it, but it was after he said something. So he says this: I do think genuinely and sincerely that a good, sizable proportion of the stakeholders I'm dealing with see the opportunity that growth and change offers a place like this. To the amount of opportunities that are here for growth and change and to deliver on these opportunities. Did you understand a word of that? Let me read it again. Maybe you get it the second time around. I do think genuinely and sincerely that a good, sizable proportion of the stakeholders I'm dealing with see the opportunity that growth and change offers a place like this. To the amount of opportunities that are here for growth and change and to deliver on these new opportunities. I mean, whatever that means. It's gibberish, Peter Gibletish. gibberish, and double talk at its best. That's what I see it as. Kamala Harris couldn't have done it better. If we vote, we need to vote, and if we don't vote, we don't need to vote. And if somebody doesn't vote, then they don't vote. And if somebody does vote, they're literally sold to America. Yeah. Now the planner says it feels like there's something in the air going on down here. There's something happening here. What it is ain't exactly clear. And I agree, there's something like probably $500,000 going down on the revenue side of the ledger. Down, 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 down. He goes on, I think people really want to see some neat stuff happen here and are really ready to help create a policy vision for that to happen. Restoring luster or building a new luster. Did you understand that one? The double talk here is just baloney. That's baloney. Neat stuff. Again, who's doing this report? Beaver Cleaver? That was neat, Dad. Opie? Opie's doing it. That's neat, Wally. Another statement that means nothing. So that's what we get. Here's the deal. Come on, man. Wave your taxpayer dollars goodbye on another useless plan that 97% of the people couldn't care less about. And that's that. So when you see those polls, go into niagarafalls.ca, go to the website and have your voice on the plan. And like I say, they can't plan a one-car parade. They couldn't plan the Canada Day parade. So don't take much. Don't pay much attention to this. 97% of the people in the city aren't. A big thanks to Ray Spiteri, the Niagara Falls Review, for his tremendous article that can be read in the online or printed version of the review. Thank you, Ray. You always write good articles. Go in there and take a look. I tried to translate the best I could. There you go. That's my take on it. Thanks for listening, everybody. Now, this is when you know you're a king of the BSers, right? Now, there's a lot of good BSers out there in the world. This guy's got to be one of the better ones. Clive Ewart of Thor, a longtime lottery player, won big on his lottery ticket. He had the last 7 numbers on his Encore play and won 100 G's. Now, Clive must be an extraordinary storyteller. Maybe one of the best, because when he told everyone he won, nobody believed him. Sure, Clive. Sure, Clive. So what he had to do is send them a picture of the check. Family and friends, nope, they didn't believe it. So when he scanned his ticket to find he won, he says everyone was shocked, including him probably. I scan my tickets all the time. I win Stugatz. That's what I win. Now Clive, Clive was shocked. He had to send them photos because nobody believed he won it when he told them. So that must mean that Clive tells them a lot of stuff and they don't believe it. But awesome, Clive. Congratulations on not only being 100,000 richer, but on your super storytelling skills. There's a good luck story, and I'm so happy you won. It's nice to read that somebody actually wins it from this area. I love reading these stories. I'm so happy for them. I mean, sure, it'd be nice if I won it. But at the end of the day, we know that there's a slim and none chance of winning it. So when somebody wins it, that's pretty cool. I like it. I like it. Somebody wins it. Especially if they're from the region. Bring some of that money back to the region. Good for Clive. Enjoy, Clive. Now, Clive was from Thorold, so we're going to stick in Thorold for a minute. And this is one thing I didn't mind at all. There's a lot of people walking by. Oh, yeah, that's right. Today's Tuesday. 75-cent wings and a $5 taco and I think $5 pints of beer at Grand Central. So if you're thirsty or hungry and you got nothing else to do, come on down. It's pretty good. I've been there and it's very good. That's why I forgot about it being Trash Talking Tuesday. Okay, so before we go over the Thorold, look at these guys. There's all kinds of people wandering around here. Before we go over to Thorold, I want to just mention my second sponsor, Hamilton Glowstone Lighting. Now, if you go through neighborhoods and you see these beautiful lights, how you doing there, buddy? And you see these beautiful lights and you wonder, who put them up? I don't see them. I can't, in the daytime, you can't see them. They're virtually invisible. But who put these things up? And when you go by at night, they oh man, they just glow and they look so beautiful. They're just beautiful, beautiful on your house. That's Hamilton Glowstone Lighting, the leader in outdoor track lighting, permanent outdoor track lighting. That's what they call it. And you can see why, or you can't see why because you can't see them except at night when they light up. Now these things are all sealed against dust and water. They're in one beautiful strand. They have different zones. So what you can do is you can go into your phone. You can pick the zone you want to light, and you can give it over a million different colors. So, Halloween, you do the whole thing orange. There you go. How's it going, buddy? You do the whole thing orange. On St. Patrick's Day, you do the whole thing green. Christmas red and green. Canada Day red and white, and Canada Day's coming up. This weekend. So yeah, what a great time to have Hamilton Glowstone Lighting on your house. Unbelievable 10-year warranty, all LED lights. So they're not going to break the bank. Man, I'm stuffed up today. I don't know why. It must be the weather. So all beautiful LED lights. So they're not going to break your bank. Your meter's not going to be going around on your house 10,000 miles an hour. Yeah, it's going to be just barely creeping because LED lights don't use energy. Very, very, very little. Also a 10-year warranty, like I said. And if you want to really Griswold your house, I mean, really take it to the Griswold stage, they offer affordable financing. Yeah, you can get financing for it. So you don't have to plop down a whack of money all at once. Unbelievable. So fantastic. Hamilton Glowstone Lighting. Call Colin Buckborough at 289-969-1797. Let me just give a good hoof here. Thank you very much. We love you. Yeah, Colin Buckborough, 289-969-1797. He's going to come and give you a free estimate. Go to not Hamilton Glowstone Lighting, but glowstonelighting.com. Very simple. Glowstone Lighting, like it sounds. glowstonelighting.com. And you can visit their gallery and see these beautiful pictures. It adds value to your house. Makes your house safer by lighting up pathways and that kind of thing. Call Colin today, 289-969-1797 to get your free estimate. Sip of water and we march on. Yeah, it was funny when I was coming in the studio. A young guy, I don't know, he's probably just 20, stopped me and he said, "You're the guy on the radio." I guess he must walk by here and see me in here all the time. I said, "Yeah." He goes, "What station? How do I listen to you? I see you in there all the time. I don't know where to tune in." And I told him 4680q.com, internet radio. So that was pretty cool. Who expects to be stopped down the street about that? Now, when the young guy listens, he probably won't like the show. He's probably looking for music or, I don't know, something else. I don't know if he's going to like this show. It doesn't seem to be a show for young guys, but you know what? You never know. There are some people who are into all this stuff. Besides those guys who care about the city and don't want our taxes raised and are sick and tired of a litter and everything else. And speaking of that, we always talk about the litter. And my thing is listen, back in the old days, and it wasn't that long ago, they used to have guys that worked for the city on foot patrol. And what they would do is they would march from the end of Queen Street by City Hall and come up, pick up all the litter, sweep up stuff, clean up stuff. They had a garbage can or a barrel on wheels. And they'd walk down the street, sweep stuff up, clean up dirt. They had a broom and a shovel. And they would take care of all this. And one guy walked all the way down Queen Street and around Valleyway to Victoria Avenue. And then another couple of guys would pick up the other side of the street, down Victoria Avenue, all the way around the bend to Center Street. And, you have a couple of guys, one on each side of the street. And that's what they do all day. They go and talk to people and clean up and pick up the litter and, maybe take a little trip down the side streets just to make sure that no litter is blown down there. But they get it all cleaned up. And that's what they do every day. That's their 8 hours a day. That's what they would do. They'd walk down one way and then come back the other. Somebody else would pick up the street from Center Street all the way around to, say, Ferry Street. They clean up that, even the Main Street, and they clean up that. Somebody taking care of Main Street from the hospital up to, up to Falls View. And they'd have crews that do this. They'd hire people, kids for the summer or whatever, and that would be their job, just to walk up and make sure that everything's clean. They did a great job, and you'd see these guys. I knew some of them, and they'd come walking down, and you'd be talking to them. And they're talking to business owners. Everybody knew them in that, and they really had a beat on the streets. Who's there? Who's there? Who's doing what? Picking up stuff. Now today, of course, they have to watch for needles and that kind of thing. They wouldn't want to pick them up, but they definitely sweep them up and maybe put them in a special bin they'd have to have. But the streets were clean then. And this is what they would do. That's what they would do all day. You'd hire a summer student, and from May to October or September, that's what they do. They'd make sure the city was clean. And it worked great because the city was clean. Why can't they do that today? And I know everybody's going to be saying, yeah, you got to hire more people and more. No, you don't. You can do it. And it's not expensive. You get these interns, these students looking to get into whatever. They just need a summer job that pays decent. And, and hire them to do it. Make work programs for people in the city and keep the city beautiful. I mean, the best would be to get the homeless guys to work and get them doing it, but the union would never allow that. And of course, these guys, a lot of them don't want to work anyway. So, but yeah, why don't they do that again? I think that would be fantastic. Back in the day, I knew a lot of them too. I mean, you see these guys, and they'd love it. They get a nice walk and fresh air all day, get to talk to people. It was a beautiful thing. Store owners all knew them, and they make sure the storefronts were clean and that. It was a beautiful thing. Why don't they do that again? I'm gonna talk to. I'm gonna mention that to Lori Lococo. Why can't they do that? Doesn't seem like a big deal to me. It seems like it would be a good thing, right? Why can't they do it? Okay, let's go over to Thorold. I said I was going to Thorold. Now we're going to Thorold City Council. Now, Thorold City Council has withdrawn from a national municipal climate change program. Oh boy, we're starting to wake up, maybe? Is it possible? And they're following the recommendation of city staff. How about that? Someone must be paying attention to experts and not other politicians to think that giving them trillions of dollars is going to save the earth. Most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. Now, the city's environment, climate change, and biodiversity advisory committee, a gathering of the woke, as it is, has urged council not to withdraw. Oh yeah, don't withdraw. Climate change is going to kill everybody. Remember Al Gore? 1980, 10 years, Manhattan's going to be underwater. We don't do something. Greta Thunberg, in 2 years, how dare you? How dare you? Oh, she had the world ended when she came out about what, 10 years ago now? I don't know. But, we're still here. And I don't see any water. And you know what? Climate's always changed. Yeah, we've had heat waves. We've had ice ages. So yeah, they're urging them not to withdraw, but in a 7-1 vote, went with the recommendation not to devote staff time, and that's money, to the initiative. Bravo, bellissimo. Now the program is free and receives funding from the federal government, but you still have to have your staff working on it. So finally, these scam artists are getting it. When are they going to admit nothing is free? Someone always pays for these bright ideas, and that someone is you, the taxpayer. That's right. It comes out of your pocket. You pay for all these pyramid schemes, these goofy ideas, whether it's masks and test kits that are no good. They won't let them use now, or COVID, or climate change, or carbon tax. It all comes out of your pocket. Now, all the loony left self-proclaimed climate change experts came out of the swamp to chime in, of course. But Ron Devereaux said the project was simply parroting the UN company line. He denounced mainstream scientists' claims that climate change was real and cited scientific facts and truths that debunked these bought and paid for pseudoscientists. So he told them why it's a bunch of baloney. Councillor Carmen DeRose took it one step further and said, Climate change is nothing new. It's been occurring for billions of years. Yeah, you're right there, Mr. DeRose, Councilor DeRose. Now, another good reason for not being involved in the program is focused on collection of data. That's right, you get in this program and they want all kinds of data. And that could infringe on residents' privacy, according to the city council vote. People may be unaware that their daily energy and waste habits are being meticulously recorded, which can lead distrust in local governments. hmm I'd say so. I'd say so. Everybody distrusts local governments as it is. That wouldn't help now, would it? But anyway, at the end of the day, someone has taken these climate change people to task and just saying no to wasting taxpayer dollars on nonsense. And all I can say about this is if only our city council would wake up and our federal government that is picking our pockets with carbon taxes would wake up to the fact that environmental stewardship is important. In other words, we don't want a dirty environment. We want the Gary Wilkins and Mike Cushmans of the world to tell us where this stuff is, and we want to clean it up, and we don't want to pollute it again. But climate change is a transfer of wealth from the taxpayer to the uber rich. We know that. Now it's time for councils to understand that and get on the wagon with that. In countries like China and India, they're the biggest offenders, and they refuse to clean up their act. So all the money and effort being developed in developed countries is wasted money. It's being wasted. And to solve a problem where other countries are doing absolutely nothing, they don't even have to comply. They're building more coal plants. They just bought $100 million worth of coal from Russia, China. They don't give a dang about it. So, why are they picking our pockets? Why are they picking our pockets for it? And thank you, Thorold City Council. You made the right decision. Tell these guys to pack it up, even though it's free. It's never free. We know that. And there goes the buzzard, just going by and beeping the horn at me. And that's that. That's that. So thanks to Matthew P. Barker, General Assignment Reporter for the St. Catherine Standard, for having that story. And great story. Go to the review. You can read it in the review. That's where I read it, I believe. So just go there, and if you haven't signed up for the review, you should, because there's interesting stuff in there that's where I get all my information, and I give it to you, and then give you my opinion on it, and that's it. Back to Niagara Falls. Have you seen the short video about the tourist arriving at the train station? This is pretty comical. It's a girl, a younger woman. I wouldn't say a girl. She's not a girl. In her 20s or early 30s, maybe. With her bag, getting off the GO train and walking down, and asking a guy with a vest and a green vest on, and that, yeah, he looks like a city worker, but I don't know if it is or not. How do I get to the falls? And he goes, "You're a long way from the falls, little lady." And she's looking across the street at the blown out Europa Hotel, all the dirt and weeds and grime and boarded up buildings, and all the decrepit buildings. And then they did a shot up Bridge Street that looks terrible. And it was actually funny. It's a spoof, I guess, because people getting off that train and they're looking for what they came to see, the falls. I mean, I'm going to Niagara Falls. We're going to go see the falls. Well, they're not right there, and they don't realize it's quite a walk by some really bad scenes. So boarded up buildings, homeless people on the streets, and no signage pointing them in the right direction for anything. The video is just a commentary saying, Niagara Falls, we have to do this better. I mean, yesterday I was down here and a bus went by and it was loaded with people. And they're probably going down to the falls as we go, loaded with people. And, when they get off that train, they look and they don't know. There's so many people walking up and down Park Street looking, how do you get to the falls? And they don't realize it's 2 or 3 miles down the street, right? So, yeah, it was an interesting video. If you go on it's on YouTube, but it was on Facebook, I saw it, but I found it a little bit comical. She's all pumped up getting off the train. I'm going to see the falls. Then she stops dead, asks the guy, and then she starts looking around and going, "Where the heck did this train take me? This doesn't look like the falls to me." Yeah, that's the vision that they get. Go look at it. Go check it out. It's funny. In this country, we really, really, really have to straighten out the idea of what a hate crime is. Most people hear the words hate crime and they picture this white guy in robes burning a cross. And when he takes the robe off, he's a skinhead with big swastikas all over him and probably a Nazi, a neo Nazi, attacking blacks, Jews, or anyone else they hate. But that's not even close to what's going on in Canada today. No, 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 no. The authorities may want you to believe that. Like when the truckers had the peaceful thing, they said there was a guy with a Nazi flag and the skinheads and neo Nazis were there, and they're going to storm Parliament and try to take it over. And it was a bunch of peaceful truckers, and the worst thing they were doing is blowing their horns. And the government overreacted, of course, and the court said they overreacted by freezing people's bank accounts, throwing them in jail for no reason, and trampling them with horses and everything else. The Gestapo. They have the Gestapo, not us. But you know what? They want to believe Whitey. They want to blame Whitey for everything. But that's not the case. It's far from the truth. In Toronto, the incidence of hate crimes has increased nearly 55% compared with the same period last year. Now, think about what happened last year. October 7th, since the start of the Israeli Hamas war, police have responded to 1,378 calls for hate crimes, and 333 were determined to be hate motivated. And I'm willing to bet that all of them are in some way hate motivated. When you open your borders to anyone, they bring their struggles to Canada. And hence, we have two opposing sides, pro Palestinian and pro Israeli. And they're clashing on the streets in Toronto. This is what's going down. We see the college and university campuses. We can see what is going on, and it isn't Whitey causing the trouble. Officers have made 107 arrests and laid 268 charges related to these hate crimes, and the most common charges are mischief, assault, and uttering threats. 88% of the crimes were against property, defacing churches, synagogues, and mosques. It isn't white people doing this. Now, I'm not saying no white people are doing this. There may be one or two kooks out there, but guaranteed, it's the factions that are fighting that are doing this to each other. And the more open borders we have, and people get on me all the time. I say diversity is going to be the downfall of Canada because when you talk about diversity, the idea is, and the idea that we have, me and you, the older people, is what our parents came here for. They came here to have a better life. They went into the melting pot and they melted and they all became one. They're Canadians. But that isn't the case today. These people are coming over here. They have their factions and they want their own laws. They're bringing everything from the old country here and causing trouble. It's not like the old days. And this problem isn't going to go away because we have millions and millions and millions of people that are taking over cities. And they want their own law. They don't even want to have a Canadian law. They don't want nothing to do with Canada. So when you open your doors to geopolitical struggles around the world, you get gangs, shootings, crime, and hate crime. They all go hand in hand. Since we open the doors, this is what we're getting. Add to the soft courts and judges who won't put these guys in jail. And I'm talking about Canada, but you look to the States. I just was watching a trial of a guy from I don't know Venezuela or something. He had a list of crimes against him in his home country. He came here and he raped like a 12-year-old girl and murdered her. It wasn't his first offense. He was a criminal to start with. But here he is in the United States killing people. There was 3 or 4 last week of these same things from these illegal aliens. And it's happening here too. The soft courts and judges wrap them on the fingers and let them off. I never did see what the bail was for this guy. They were waiting for the judge to figure it out. And hopefully it's not in New York where they'll just let him back out in the streets. But this guy's a flight risk, of course. He ain't sticking around. You let him back out on $25 bail or his own recognizance. Guess what? He's gone. He's gone like the guys who did the gold heist here. Gone. They're not hanging around for a trial. They're going to go and come back with another ID. They'll be back doing it again. So the problem isn't going to go away. You have a disaster in the making. We are witnessing the start of it. We're not even close to the worst of it. No, no, no. And it isn't some skinhead neo-Nazi white supremacist group doing it. Nope. These are struggles brought from other countries here. That's what it is. And you know what? That's why I say this idea of what were they calling it? They were calling it hate crimes. Hate crimes. Yeah, they may, like, yeah, it's not us. It's not us. Most people I know are very tolerant. It's not us. It's them against them. And the gangs aren't us. It's them against us. And the drug dealers aren't us. Oh, they may have drug dealers who are white guys. Sure, but the big guys controlling it aren't these guys. They're gangs. Gangs control everything. So we got to redo the definition of that, rethink that. When you hear that, don't automatically think of a white skinhead, white supremacist, neo-Nazi guy. That's not what it is. It's not what it is. Think again. So let's go over to Newfoundland right now because we're not celebrating at it by any means. We're not celebrating. That's the wrong word to use. We're not celebrating, but we're recognizing the 1 year Triton submersible disaster. And there's a lot of documentaries after a year about what happened. You can watch them on YouTube. And basically, they all come to one conclusion that arrogance and failure to heed warnings by Stockton Rush was the reason this thing imploded. And if you remember, the Titan set off for the Titanic wreck with 5 people aboard. They were using new technology that was neither certified or tested to ensure its safety. And Stockton Rush, the explorer and CEO of OceanGate, he he moved forward using carbon fiber for the main capsule, a material that was not proven or approved by any regulatory body for submersibles doing deep dives. They all warned him. They all told him that he had to rethink it before he did it and to bring people with him, civilians. They call them civilians, people who weren't into this thing, to go for a pleasure ride down to the Titanic was wrong. Now, carbon fiber itself is very strong. You can have a carbon fiber the size of this pen. See it? That pen there? And basically, it'll pull a car. Carbon fiber has good tensile strength. It's strong, but it doesn't have very good crush strength, force strength. And that's where it goes. That's where it went wrong, right? It had titanium ends that were round like a bell, but the middle was a cylindrical, and that in itself isn't bad. James Cameron went down to the bottom of the Mariana Trench, which is 3 times the depth, I think, of where the Titanic is. It's the deepest trench in the world, in under seas, under the sea, underwater. I'm reaching for words. Underwater, but it was a cylinder, and it was tested and tested and retested and retested, and used steel. And steel is the best metal for this. Even titanium in that isn't as good as steel. It's lighter, but it's so expensive nobody will use it to be able to make one of these things. But steel still is the best. That's what the they certify, and that's what's used. And James Cameron used it. So this thing was doomed to fail. I mean, really. And the more you put pressure on this carbon fiber, it develops little cracks. And see, even the salt water is not good for it. And of course, they're saying that even towing it from Newfoundland 400 miles to the dive site, hitting the waves, for all those hours to get out to the dive site, probably also weakened it because it gets pretty gnarly out there in the North Atlantic. So basically, what happened is they got to a certain depth and it just imploded, and it was instant death for those aboard. The stories about them knowing they were going to be killed and trying to do this or trying to do that and everything else. Nah, that's not the way it went down. They hit a certain level, bang. The mothership lost communications, and the capsule was just crushed. And we're not talking about like this. We're talking about bang. So much heat and pressure build up from that, boom, it explodes underwater. I mean, there was hope. If you remember, they were hoping to save the people on board. The submersible lost contact, and 10 hours of not communicating, they got a hold of the authorities, and there was hope. Tapping voices, they said, were heard. But the reality was the crew only had so much oxygen on board, they said. But the reality was that there was no time for the rescuers to get there, no time to save these people. Once they lost communications, then that was it. It was over. That thing imploded. Instant death. They never knew it hit them. They looked around, maybe heard a noise, looked around, and by the time they even looked, or maybe didn't even have time to do that, it would have been done. As it turned out, when the mothership lost contact with the sub, it was because it had imploded. That's why communication had been lost, not because something failed or anything else. No, the whole thing failed and it just was gone. The scattered remains of the submersible were located and some parts actually recovered. And as the story unfolds, we see the experts and authorities on deep dives are saying that they begged Stockton Rush not to do this, not to go this way, to get that capsule certified. And certification takes a few years because they have to test it and retest it and retest it. And Stockton Rush wouldn't do that. It was too much money and too much time. And basically at the end of the day, it was a critical mistake in judgment. And the people who went with them, it's sad for them because they really were depending on Stockton Rush to give them the truth. And the poor one guy, him and his son, a young kid, 19 years old or something, Suleiman was the kid's name. He didn't really want to go. The mother was supposed to go, but she didn't want to go. And then the father convinced the kid to go, and that was the last thing they did together. At least they did it together, and other people who were supposed to go on, they just backed out because they just didn't have confidence in this. They didn't like the way it was being done after they reviewed it, talked to other people, and they were just basically convinced no. But Najoulet, the JP Najoulet, the guy who had been down to the Titanic 38 times, he went on it, and he was in his late 70s. And his daughter said he died where he would want to die. And, he went, you wonder, well, why'd this guy go who knew so much? But, I just got to think that, you only get so many times to go back down to the Titanic. Most people in the world have never done it, and they never will. Maybe 200 people have done it, if that many, maybe not even that many. And we talked to Larry Daly from Newfoundland, who has actually been down there about the trip and how rigorous it is and how tough it is. It's a hard, long journey to that wreck and a long journey back up to the surface. It's not, you have to be fit to be able to do it. And anything can go wrong at any time. You lose power. You lose this. You lose communications. Anything gets stuck on the wreck. There's all kinds of metal, jagged metal sticking out and grabs your tether or your the actual sub itself, and you can't free it. They almost got caught once, a couple of people. So it's not an easy journey, and people just backed away from it because they were afraid, and rightly so. They're still alive, and the others aren't. But we remember them. we tip our hat to them for being true explorers, doing stuff that nobody else would like to do because it's so dangerous now, but they were willing to do it. And they paid to do it, by the way. It wasn't free. They paid to do it. But the good thing is, if anything good comes out of it, it's all history now. But I think regulations are going to change about this, and it's going to come down to ports like St. John in Newfoundland, St. John's, Newfoundland. The port of St. John's will probably be a little bit more careful of who they let into their port and who they let out of their port, and make sure that what they're doing is correct, because it can be stopped there. It can be stopped right there. You want to go to the North Atlantic? Go ahead, take your ship, but you're not taking the submersible. They can stop it, and the Coast Guard can stop it too. So, I think it's going to be a little bit more careful when the next one goes, and good for them, because you don't want one of these things happening again. But we do remember them, and remember their spirit and the way they wanted to explore places unknown and a trip of a lifetime. Unfortunately, it didn't work out. Anyway, what do we got going on for the rest of the week here?